Well, I'm delighted to welcome you back and to welcome into studio Jimmy McGivern, Newry man. Spent his life in across the water, as we say, in England. And Jimmy, I last met you, Jimmy, 50 years ago when we worked in Haldon and Shields' timber yard off Monaghan Street in Newry. And it's been an interesting time because Jimmy McGivern was put slightly to the one side and Johnny Starr entered.
Johnny Starr entered the game.
And Johnny Starr was your stage name.
That was a stage name, yeah.
Yeah.
Really, it was. It did involve with a chap from Southport.
Yes.
A fellow called Billy Luke Scott. Lord rest him. But Billy, he managed Tom O'Connor, and
oh yeah,
he was Tom O'Connor. He played ukulele, banjo, and that. And I had an agent at the time when we moved. That was early '70s. A man called Frank Birchall from Wigan. He's passed on now, but I signed with Frank about '74.
Yeah, and the bulk of your time in England, you earned your living on the stage.
On the stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we talk and shoot the breeze about the old times, maybe you'd give us a flavour of the guitar.
Oh, well, you're asking something then.
Oh, I'm delighted to have you here doing it.
In a dusty little Mexican town down on the border, never expected my heart to cross over the line. Rode into the square that she lived wild as a stallion, and her dark brown eyes burned down into mine. Somewhere underneath the stars, a lonely guitar was playing. Was the closest that I'd come to paradise. And the world stood still for us there in the shadows, till she whispered to me the words of goodbye. Down on the Diablo she circled the mission of light, and rode like a bandit, stealing the night. Dawn was breaking, longed to touch her again, but I'll leave that to heaven, for I might as well saddle the wind. The wind blows cold through my soul, back home here in Austin, and oft in the distance a lonely mission bell rang, filling my mind with thoughts of that Mexican rider. Tonight I will hold her only in my dreams. Down on the Diablo she circled the mission of light, and rode like a bandit, stealing the night. Dawn was breaking and I longed to touch her again, but I'll leave that to heaven, for I might as well saddle the wind. I'll leave that to heaven, I might as well saddle the wind.
So beautiful. So beautiful. Thank you so much. Some woman, you know, you might as well saddle the wind.
You might as well saddle the wind.
She was a crazy woman.
She was a crazy woman.
Indeed, indeed. But the lovely things you were doing with the guitar there.
Yeah.
I don't know the proper musical term, but there were little tremolos there coming in, boom, just wee ups and downs. That's clever, and that was made the difference in that song.
Yeah, well, it makes it easier maybe to listen to.
Well, it certainly does. It's
yeah.
very, very beautiful
Yeah.
and well done with that. Put it down for a moment and we'll talk about the old times.
Oh,
and
tell
maybe
me.
before you go, you'll play us one more. That would be
problem,
nice.
no
Are you
problem.
comfortable there?
I'm grand.
So is it? It's now back to Jimmy McGivern.
Back to Jimmy McGivern.
The young man that I last met 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You were at the... So what were you doing in Haldane and Shields?
I was working with John Connor.
Yeah, on the saw.
On the saw. I don't know if John.
John is alive, and
Oh,
Una,
I know
his wife, is alive.
He went to work at Rankin's.
Yes, he did, in Belfast.
In Belfast,
yeah.
and he moved to Lisbon.
He moved to
That's
Lisbon.
the last I heard
yeah.
of him.
Well, he's still there. I think maybe like the rest of us, he's getting on a bit, but he's there. And I was at the machine across from you.
You were there, yeah.
I was with Jimmy Morney.
Jimmy Morney, yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago now.
And Sean Rogers.
Sean Rogers was there, and Terry McAteer was
Terry
there.
was there, and
And
Billy Sharp, and
Yep,
Andy Linden,
Andy Linden.
and there was a lad, Harry Cowan.
Harry Cowan was there. Ah,
Yes,
for goodness
and
sake.
Shaw, yeah, a fella
Harry
called-
used to make the tea in the mornings.
used to make the tea.
over in the boiler.
in the boiler, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I got in there by telling lies about my age because
right?
I'd done a runner out of the Abbey, and I wanted to get clear of school, and I was never. And Luke Carr, God
Luke,
rest him,
yeah, Luke
and
was there,
they're
yeah.
just such good people. And I remember John Haldane, the son of the father.
That's right,
John
yes.
came in, and John. It was in our time that John built the. He built the hardwood shed in the middle.
In the middle of the.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then when I told him when I was leaving to go to college in Belfast, he said, "Rowan, are you sure?" And I said, "Well, I am, John." He said, "Look, if you stay, you'll get Jimmy's machine." And we had just brought in a new moulding. Jimmy's thing was he would do the floorboards and
That's
he would
right,
do the
yeah.
moulding,
Yeah.
all the lovely shapes
Yeah.
in the wood.
Yeah.
And he said, "If you stay, you'll get Jimmy's machine when Jimmy retires."
Ah.
And then John, of course, before he died, he was in Newry Rotary Club, and I was invited as a guest. And at that stage, I was the head of Radio Current Affairs in the BBC, and he was there. And I said, "John, the last time we spoke, you promised me Jimmy Morney's machine when he retired."
Yeah.
Well, as I understand it, Jimmy died 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I rather think I might have been waiting a long time. And we had a good laugh about that. But there was a kind of nice family atmosphere down in the
it was
yard.
fantastic. I mean, we had like the lads, Ernie Coulter and
Ernie is still around. Hello,
and,
Ernie. Good morning to you.
and was Lord rest, I think Willie Cunningham. He passed
Willie
away,
Cunningham and Jackie from he's in Warren Point living now. Oh, Jackie. He was down at
McManus.
McManus in the bottom shed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then there was a chap who, unfortunately, he got killed there, Jackie Patterson.
Jackie got killed on the saw.
On the saw, yeah.
He was in the morning time. Jackie was out and trying to start the saw and swing it.
yeah,
Bum, bum. And his coat caught on
in
the
it,
thing,
yeah,
and
he
he
was
was.
killed,
It wasn't
yeah.
good. He was killed. He was killed.
Oh, it was. But so many people like old John Bradford and all these people, they were great people.
Yeah.
They were great people.
And it wasn't like a boss and
There was
worker relationship.
no.
It was all good.
No.
Did the railway run close by?
It run behind us, yeah.
Behind us, and that was the line from Edward Street going down across to Dublin Bridge.
To Dublin Bridge.
And then on down to Warren Point.
Yeah.
And also it cut off at
Yeah.
Dominic Street to go, not Dominic Street, Bridge Street, to go to Omeath.
Omeath. And I remember there when we were in Haldane Shields, where we used to work up the lower end, it was down the yard
Yes.
end. On the other end of it, up with the office, there used to be a saw there, and we used to have to split extra long timber.
Yeah.
And we had a hole in the wall
To push it
and we
through.
used to push it through, but we had to wait to make sure the train wasn't passing.
Wow.
And we used to we look out, and there were no trains,
Yeah.
and we'd run this stuff through, and it would go right onto out onto the railway line.
Out on, then pull back
Yeah.
again.
And
But
pull
had
it
you,
back.
at what stage when we were there, I know quite precisely at what stage I started looking beyond Haldane and Shields's.
Yeah.
At what stage did you start looking beyond
Well,
Haldane and Shields's?
I mean, I don't really know. I was always involved in music and bands. I started in bands in 1957. I was in a band.
Yeah.
And then like one or two bands, local bands and various things, and then I went with a band over in outside Strabane.
Yeah.
and played a while for them, and then come back and I joined a band called the Rhythm Aces, and then which was the Hilton. It formed the Hilton round in the early six by 61, and then I stayed with them, but I was never one for bands. I always wanted to be on my own.
On your own.
And then the opportunity came I left out, done a bit on my own, and then I formed another band in Newry called the Epic.
Oh, did you form
I formed the Epic, yeah. I put the Epic together in the early
Had that an
days.
association in some way with Eber Clark?
Aber, well, that was before Aber.
Yeah.
Aber had the shop at the time.
Down the Mall.
Down on the Mall.
Yeah.
And I put this band together. I got Jeannie Poocher and Jerry, and Jeannie's wife, Anne McGurk, and a wee lad played drums with us from Dundalk, Paddy McGee. But it was Brenton Hughes had a little band at the time called the Red Rockets. No, the Red Shadows, that's what it was called. And he asked me to join, and then he packed it all in, and I was left with the rest of the few lads. So I went and got some other players, and we were sitting in Jerry Poocher's house one night, and we were thinking of the name of the band, and we were going through records on the floor, and I happened to pick these old LPs up, and one of them was Epic Records.
Wow.
And I said, there's a good name for the band.
For the band.
And I remember Jerry Poocher picking the record up and going into the back kitchen, and his father, old Joe, was sitting smoking a pipe at the fire. He says, Dad, what do you think of this? He says, that's a good name for the band.
That's the good name. That's how it happened.
And that's how it happened.
Well, how did your life go in England? Did you marry? Do you have a family?
Yes.
What all happened?
I got married here before we went away. My wife's from Dundalk, and I have two boys, Brian and Stephen. And Brian plays guitar. He's based here, and Stephen lives in England. He works at Rolls-Royce in England. And but we all just kept the music going. And then as I say, went to England and signed up.
Where did you settle there? Where did you settle?
Settled just about a place called Accrington, outside Accrington.
And was that all right for you? Because you were coming, let's be honest, you were coming from a family atmosphere of a Newry community that had the warmth and the wonderment of Haldane Shields in the middle of it, and you were going to a place that we would have thought in those days quite angular and quite cold. Accrington.
Yes,
was that Accrington Stanley?
Accrington Stanley
was the football team?
Yes. Well, my wife's sisters and brothers all were based there, so there was a family connection to go to. And then I went into the working men's clubs, which was hard work. If they didn't like you, you didn't get paid, and you were sent home. Lucky enough, that never happened to me. But I was playing in a club in Southport, the Railway Club, and a chap's mother was from Newry, Rodney Doherty.
Yes.
His mother was Josie, and they lived in Southport, and she was there at the club that night. And there was a fellow there called Billy Luke Scott. I think he would manage the club or something, but he was involved in the club, and he asked me would I sign up with him, and I told him I was with Frank Birchall. So Frank let me out of the business. I tied up with him, and I went with Billy Luke Scott. And the following week I was with Shirley Bossy.
Wow.
The following week.
What did you think of her?
I was a brilliant lady. I'd done a few shows with Shirley, and it happened in about a month.
Yeah.
All happened in about a month. And then he had Tom O'Connor on his books, and he had one or two other ones on his books at that time. They were doing the cabaret scene, and so I signed with him, and I was with him for about a few years. And then Billy unfortunately passed away, and I got in touch with Frank, and Frank just carried on doing.
Well, Jimmy, are you back in Newry now full time?
I am back in Newry full time.
You're most welcome, and I do hope that you'll grace our studio on more than one occasion in the future.
I'd love to.
That would be my hope.
Love to, yeah.
And maybe you'll play us out now with another little tune.
Well, I'll do one which would maybe mean something to some people.
Wow, we'll hear this. I should tell the people very shortly you'll be hearing of the something you haven't heard of yet, but the Sunflower Festival. I'll be bringing you news of that very shortly.
This will maybe bring back memories to some of the lads in the old show bands. At the age of 14 was a start of a dream when I first picked up a guitar. Well, a few years did pass, then the break came at last to play in the town's big show band. Me father, he did say, keep strumming away, but never give up on your dreams. Never give up, never give up, never give up on your dreams. But playing in bands, sleeping in vans, driving all hours of the night, it wasn't for me, so I set myself free to find out what life's all about. And me father, he did say, you keep strumming away and never give up on your dreams. Never give up, never give up, never give up on your dreams. But in '85, the dream came alive when I played in Carnegie Hall. The lights and the heat and the crowd on their feet, and a voice echoed over the hall. Your old father, he did say, you keep strumming away and never give up on your dreams. Never give up, never give up. You must never give up on your dreams. You must never give up on your dreams.
Wow, hey, that was fancy. That was fancy stuff at the end there, I tell you.
Thank you very much.
It's a long time since those hands pushed a log through the hole in the wall, I tell you. You'll be with us again, please God.
Lovely. Thanks for having me, Rowan. Thank you very much indeed.
It's nice to remember the old days there. And Sean, you will now help us bridge the gap to the Sunflower Festival with a lesser genre of music. Sean?